Welcome to CBS Easy.
All right, let's dive into a really big one for your Class 10 geography exams, resources and development. We're not just going to skim through it. We're going to give you all the key concepts and value points you need to absolutely ace this chapter. So, here's our roadmap. We'll kick things off by defining what a resource actually is. Then, we'll get into why planning is so critical, take a close look at India's land and soil situation, and finish up with a quick-fire round of must-know facts for your exam. Sound good? Let's go.
First things first, the entire chapter, everything we're about to talk about, is built on this one simple question. What is a resource? It sounds super basic, right? But trust me, nailing this definition is the first step to a top-tier score.
And there you have it. Look, the key isn't just saying it satisfies our needs. Your answer has to include these three crucial filters. It has to be technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable. Think of it like a three-part password. You need all three to unlock something's potential as a resource.
You know, I love this diagram because it shows something so important. Resources don't just exist on their own. We, human beings, are right in the middle of it all. We're the ones using technology to transform nature, and we create institutions, things like governments and companies, to manage it all. It's this constant dance between nature, tech, and us.
This chart right here, this is your best friend for this chapter, I'm not kidding. Think of it like a family tree. You've got the two main branches up top, natural and human. And from there, you get these really important splits like renewable versus non-renewable, and biotic, which just means living things, versus abiotic, or non-living things. Knowing your way around this chart is absolutely essential.
Okay, so we figured out what resources are. But what's next? Can we just use them however we want, whenever we want? No way. That would be a disaster. That's where planning comes in. It's our strategy for survival, really. So what happens when we use resources without thinking, without a plan? Well, this slide lays out the three huge consequences, and these are perfect points for an exam answer. First, we just run out of stuff. Second, the resources get hoarded by a few people, which creates this huge gap between the rich and the poor. And third, we end up causing massive global problems like climate change and land degradation.
And this famous quote from Mahatma Gandhi just hits the nail on the head. He perfectly captures the core of the problem, right? It's all about the difference between need and greed. The Earth has enough for everyone's needs, but it can't possibly keep up with the endless greed of some, which leads directly to those problems we just talked about.
Okay, board exam alert. This one is huge. You have got to memorize this definition word for word. Sustainable development is really just about fairness across time. It's about us being able to live well today, but not in a way that messes things up for the people who come after us. It's that simple.
So how does a country like India actually do this? Well, it's a three-step dance, and it's perfect for a long answer. Step one is pretty logical. You have to figure out what you have and where it is. Step two, build the framework. Get the right technology, skills, and organizations ready. And finally, step three, make sure your resource plan actually lines up with what the country is trying to achieve overall.
All right, let's get specific now. We're going to zoom in from the big idea of resources to one of the most fundamental of them all, land. Now we're talking about the real ground reality here in India.
This chart gives us a fantastic snapshot of our country. The first thing that just jumps out at you, right? The net sown area, that's land used for farming, is almost half of all the land in India. That's massive. Now also keep your eye on that forest number, the one sitting around 23%. We're going to come back to that in just a second.
Okay, this number, 33%. Burn it into your brain. The National Forest Policy, way back in 1952, said that for India to have a healthy ecological balance, we need 1/3 of our land to be covered by forests. And as we just saw, we're not there yet, which is a big, big deal.
Now this is where you can really level up your answers. This table is gold because it gives you specific examples to back up your points. If you're talking about over-irrigation causing problems, you can say, for example, in states like Punjab and Haryana. Or if you're writing about mining, you can mention Jharkhand or Odisha. These details make your answer so much stronger.
All right, pop quiz time. What are the main human activities causing land degradation? Hit pause if you need to and think about it. You should be able to list things like deforestation, overgrazing, mining, and over-irrigation. And for bonus points, you'd throw in an example for each from that last slide.
Okay, for our last deep dive, it's time to get our hands dirty. Literally, we're talking about soil. India has this incredible geographic diversity, which means we also have a whole bunch of different soil types. Let's break down the main ones you have to know. This is a classic trap question in exams. What's the difference between Bangar and Khadar? It's actually super simple when you break it down. Just remember, Khadar is the new kid on the block. It's new soil, has finer particles, and it's way more fertile. Bangar is the old soil. It's less fertile and has more of those little pebbly things called conker nodules.
Here are 3 more big ones. Think of these as quick mental flashcards. Black soil? Boom, that's Regur soil, and it's perfect for growing cotton. Laterite soil? You should immediately think of tea and coffee, found in places with those intense wet and dry seasons. And arid soil? That one's easy. Sandy, salty, and you'll find it in dry places like western Rajasthan.
Here's another topic you are almost guaranteed to see on your exam. How do we conserve soil? What's really cool here is that each method is like a custom-made solution for a specific problem. In hilly areas where water rushes down, you use contour plowing and terrace farming. But in flat, windy areas, you use things like strip cropping and shelter belts to slow down the wind.
Okay, let's apply that. The question specifically asks about hilly areas. So out of that list we just saw, which methods would you write about? Your answer absolutely must include contour plowing and terrace cultivation, since those are the ones designed for slopes.
All right, final stretch, everyone. Let's do a rapid-fire revision. These are the absolute, non-negotiable facts and definitions that you've got to have at your fingertips when you walk into that exam hall. Ready?
Take a mental screenshot of this. Seriously, the 3 conditions for a resource, the definition of sustainable development, the key land use number, that 45.64% net sown area, the forest goal, 33%, the nickname for black soil, Regur, and knowing that new Khadar is more fertile than old Bangar. If you nail these points, you are in fantastic shape.
And just like that, you've got the core of this chapter locked down. We've covered the definitions, the processes, the key stats, and the conservation methods. You are good to go. So we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. We know planning is everything, right? So looking ahead, say the next 25 years, what should India's top priorities be? Should we go all in on solar and wind, or should our main focus be on water conservation? There's no single right answer, but that's the real question at the heart of sustainable development. Think about it. Thanks for joining us and all the very best for your exams.
Thank you for watching with us. See you next time.